If you wanna believe that anything could stop me, don't show up, don't come out, don't stop caring. All right, good morning, Roseville.
Morning.
How's everyone doing today? Hi, Chad.
Morning. Good.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, look at all these beautiful faces. Hello, good morning. Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Jen.
Hello. Chad, you're not running some crazy marathon that's like 1,000 miles?
Agents on the call today, Forrest.
Not today.
Hey, guys.
Morning.
Hey, Forrest. Hey, everybody. This is Forrest. He is one of our newest agents. His license is actually still at state. So let's give him a warm Roseville welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Welcome, Forrest.
Thanks, guys.
Andy's here too. Welcome, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
How you doing?
Congrats.
How's it going?
Congrats on you brought your new hip too, right?
I brought my new titanium hip.
I love it. You're stronger
Strong
than
as
ever.
anyone.
That's
How are
awesome.
you feeling?
I'm actually doing amazingly well. I walked into my den and was walking around without my walker, so just completely standing up on my own, which is a week. Today's a week-long anniversary, so I think that's pretty good.
Nice.
Well, I think that's a great way to start off our gratitude.
Yes.
And I am grateful for you and that your surgery went well and that your recovery is going so well. So,
Well,
very
thank
happy to
you.
hear
And
that.
Heather, your basket of goodies was well appreciated. We're using them all. I have my new favorite little blanket Heather got me. So
I was so jealous of your new blanket. I went and got myself one for my office.
I don't blame you. That's pretty good.
Hey, and
It's my whoopee now. What do they call it? My whoopee? Is it my whoopee?
Yeah.
and I don't know if everyone knows, but I mean, Andy had to do a lot of work before his surgery, right? So, I mean, he lost, almost 30 pounds?
Yeah.
So that's huge. That's huge, man. We're so proud of you for that. And, this new hip will give you the chance to keep moving too afterwards. So great work.
I gotta have it, man. We're taking that market center to 300 agents. We gotta be full bore, man. I gotta keep up with Steve Jones.
Yeah, that's right. He's on a recruiting call now, right? No.
You might need 2 hips, Andy. You might need 2.
I might need 2. I'll have to get the other one fixed first too. I love it. Good.
All right. Does anybody else have any bucket fills or gratitude to share today? Don't be shy. Everybody always has a little bit of gratitude.
Well, I'm grateful for Matt Brown. He's been inspirational and very helpful. He even went on I'm trying to get this for sale by owner to list, and he's, Matt, I went down to the first time on my own, and then Matt came with me the second time, and this guy seems to think he can sell his house that's a fixer-upper in a really great neighborhood of like $1 million plus homes. And Matt was, the way that he worked with me and worked with the guy was just was very helpful. He met me there. We went through it. So don't know what will come of it, but I appreciate Matt.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any bucket fills or gratitude?
Well, Heather, I'll bucket fill you. You do always such a great job of communicating with everybody. And then thanks for the invitation to come visit with you guys today.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. I'm glad you're able to join us today.
I guess I'll say I'm grateful for this opportunity. I've been interested in trying to get into real estate for a long time now, so I'm just happy to join on with such a great team and great culture that I can already feel. So
nice.
All right, you guys. Well, let's move on. So we have Matt and Jen with us today with New American Funding. Hi, guys.
Hey,
Yay.
hope everyone's well. Happy October. Kind of the biggest things that we're seeing right now in our industry is one, we're busy, which is good, and we're closing loans, and that's good. Couple things though is I want to introduce John Englert to you. John is my assistant. He's been with me since June, and I just wanted everyone to put a face to a name, and he's a superstar. I can't tell you how, we've had a couple record months in the last few months, and they've gone so smooth, and John's a big piece to that because he's very, very detailed, and sometimes Matt is not. And so John has helped significantly. So just want everyone to see John and see his face and say hello to him. He's going to be coming into Roseville every once in a while as well. But back to the mortgage piece. I think everyone everyone's always wondering, hey, what are rates going to do? And you know what? They're not doing a lot. They're kind of just bouncing a little bit. Right now, the nearest things that are on the plate would be, is there going to be any type of move on a stimulus package? If that occurs, we'll probably see a little bump in rates because we'll probably see a bump in the stock market if that happens. So we're kind of carefully watching the rates to determine whether or not it's a good time to lock rates or if we should float loans. That's the biggest thing I have. Jen, you have some stuff to share as well, right?
Yeah, a couple things. John, I just wondered, is anything you wanted to say, John? Because if we're on like speaker view or something, that your face would actually pop up. So.
No, I just let you two do all the talking. We're good.
I should tell people
Welcome, John. We're excited to meet you.
And I should tell people that John has been in the industry for, 10 years at least, right, John?
Yeah, I've been originating since 2006. I started working for U.S. Bank back in 2000. So I've been around the block for a while. I actually grew up in Roseville, so I know exactly where you guys are. My sister was a waitress at Conn's forever. So that's right there. And I've had the opportunity to work with you guys and Corby team and everything. And you guys have been awesome to work with. So I definitely love working with you guys.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, we love having him. So it's been great. I don't know if I can, if I can't share my screen, no biggie, but can I pop it on, Heather?
Go ahead.
Would that be all right? Okay. I just wanted to bring this up. Some of you saw that I posted that real estate report card on the Facebook page. But then I found that it was available in Spanish as well, and I was super excited about that with just a click of a button. So I just wanted to remind you guys that these are out there. You can just search for a city, county, zip code, and it pulls in all this real estate data in a really lovely format. So these are available through a tool we have called MBS Highway, and there's a lot more in there. I'm just kind of getting I'm just discovering what's in there, so you'll see more from me on that, but that's one thing I was excited about. And then I'm going to stop share. And I wanted to mention that at this time of year, 36 Touch. I just want to put that out there that it's so important. I don't know if Todd has a training coming up, but I always have trainings on that, and I'm very happy to help you guys just put together a marketing plan based on that awesome, proven, successful format. I'm very well versed in all of it, and then to tie in that social media piece that just puts an exponent behind all of the effectiveness of every element of it. So please reach out to me if you want to talk about 36 Touch and making a marketing plan for yourself. That's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. Does anybody have any questions for Matt or Jen? Okay. Oh, hold on. I got to keep admitting. Okay. All right, you guys. We are going to jump into coming soon listings. So just a reminder, because I know this is really new to our team meetings. We're going to be taking 5 minutes, and everybody has just a couple seconds to run through if you have any coming soon listings. We thought this was a really great idea to bring value to you guys, since we can only market our coming soon listings to agents within our office. So if anybody has anything they want to run through, now's your time to shine.
So Chad, with the KW Commercial Group, we have, I stated this last week too, but we have investment properties, commercial investment properties, anywhere from $199,900 all the way up to $1.6 million, cap rate of anywhere from 6 to 9%. So if you have any investors looking to step up to commercial, shoot me a message, and I'll get you all the financials sent over. Thanks.
Thank you, Chad. Does anybody else have a coming soon they'd like to share today?
Well, I'll contribute.
Yes,
So
please do.
My team, Search House Now team, we actually have a few more focused on the Northwest Metro, but so we have a townhome in Champlin that's going to be listed for $235,000, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. There's a townhome in Brooklyn Park listed for the same price, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We have a listing in Dayton that's going to be it's a right around 525. We're zeroing in on price, but that one's going to be a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 3,200 square feet on an acre lot just off the Crow River, which is nice. It's not on, it's just off, but it does have river views. Let's see, what else do we have? There's a 2-story in Champlin. It's going to be listed at 425, and that's going to be a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3-car. It's a modified. So those are some of the ones that are coming up immediately.
Wonderful. Thank you. Does anybody else have any coming soons to share? All right. Well, just a reminder that we will be doing this at every team meeting, you guys, moving forward. And if you can't be at one of the team meetings, you can put your coming soon listing into the document. I shared it in our team meeting follow-up email last week, and you can also find a link to it on rosevilleconnect.com. So if you put the information into there, I can read it for you. And then we also have a tab at the bottom for buyer needs that you can put your buyer's info there as well. All right, and next we're going to have a quick market update with Matt Brown.
Are you going to put, oh, okay.
Yep. I'm going. All right, there we go.
All right, well, you can see right there if you stop for 1 second. So we have had an increase in new listings, and this is week over week. So from the same week last year, these are the data that we're looking at. So new listings coming on the market were up 11.2% over last year. Change in pending sales, it's up. Pending sales were up 27.4%. And the amount of inventory currently on the market is still down by 31% over last year. And that's been pretty consistent for most of this year. Okay, you can scroll down a bit farther. You can see right there, that's the nice thing about using this data from SPAR is you can see the trend, right? So that current activity, that thick orange line, is what we're looking at for new listings, and then the dotted line was from last year. So you can see it's taken a slight dip, but the trend has been moving, well, it's been pretty steady, I guess I should say. Okay, if you can go down a bit farther. Keep going to pending sales. You can see the same thing. Dotted line is from last year, and solid yellow is from this, or solid orange is from this year. So that's still, I mean, you can see there's not enough inventory coming on to meet the demand of pending sales. Okay, keep going down a little bit more. This is an interesting one. So the dotted line on the top shows where we were at for inventory of homes last year. So you can see we're just under that 13,000 mark for most of it. And look where we're at now. We're almost under 9,000 homes for sale. That's shockingly low. Okay, a little bit farther. Again, you can see the historic lows. Days on market have come down slightly over the same time last week, or last year. The same week last year, I should say. Okay. And you can see the prices continue to increase. And if you can scroll onto the graph a little bit farther, yeah, right there. You can see, if you look at 2006 and 2007, that was the last peak, and we are certainly beyond that. So get ready for a shift. It will not continue like this indefinitely. Yep, and then that's percent of original list price received. So what a seller listed at and what they received, and you can see we're over 100%. So market's still strong, but I think everyone should be mindful and aware that a shift is going to occur. I don't think it'll be nothing compared to what we experienced during the crash, but it is inevitable. So keep that in mind. And with that, I am done.
All right. Thank you, Matt.
You're
and
welcome.
I'm just going to run through, whoops. I still want to share a few quick featured trainings for October, and then we will get over to Steve. So let's see if my computer wants to do this with me. All right. So just a few reminders of our upcoming team meetings. So next week, the 13th, we have client retention tips and profit share with Mr. Mike O'Donnell. On the 20th, we're going to have an awesome lead generation panel. And on the 27th, I'm excited for this one. We're going to do a Stump the ALC with listing and buyer objections. And taking the hot seat, we are going to have Jane, Nick, and Amy Grenier. So that'll be a lot of fun. And then we have a few command trainings coming up this month. This Thursday, we have Smart Plans with Jen at 9 a.m. We have next Wednesday, the 14th, Opportunities with Shannon at 10:30 a.m. On that Thursday, the 15th at 9 a.m., we have Campaigns with me. And then we're going to be going over some of the new team updates on Thursday, the 22nd at 9 a.m. And with Smart Plans and Campaigns, just a reminder that these are actual workshops. So you're going to be coming and implementing an actual smart plan to get that up and running. And then we're going to follow that by putting out a campaign. So if you will be joining us, please make sure to RSVP to the Google Doc. We will be sending out some homework prior so we can make sure that we are ready to get those smart plans and those campaigns live during the workshop for you guys. We have Ignite Elementals coming up on the 20th. Matt, do you want to do a quick plug for that?
It's going to be awesome. Be there. No, we're going to be going over, we're going to, Spark is the fundamentals. And it's setting the correct daily success habits. Elementals gets more into Okay.
Elementals is?
All right, Heather, take it. Heather, can you hear us?
Yes, I think
Okay.
I froze.
Okay, you're good now, so you can continue. I've said my piece.
Perfect. Sorry, guys. And then just a quick reminder that we have our regional event business planning clinic coming up at the end of October. So make sure to check your emails, or you can go to rosevilleconnect.com to register for that as well. All right, I'm going to hand over the baton to Steve Jones, who's going to be talking about how to win those listings. So welcome, Steve, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it. So I know many of you, and for those that don't, my name is Steve Jones. I'm the team leader over at Maple Grove. I have a mega team that sells here. And what you guys asked me to do is just talk about how to win listings. And there's lots of ways to intercept that conversation. And what I'm going to specifically talk to is not necessarily the lead generation or prospecting of it, but how to win preference in the conversation of the listing presentation. Because I think it's utterly important to make sure that we show up with a couple things and make sure that we are studied enough so we show confidence and that we're going to perform the job to win them the most amount of money in the least amount of time. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So in doing that, there's a couple things that we'll bring up. So I'm just going to share my screen and we'll talk through. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Okay, screen share. Okay, can you guys see my screen right now?
Yes.
All right, good. So some talking points that we're going to talk about today is our presentation, the studying and understanding the stats. I'm a big proponent of scripts, understanding what to say, when to say it, so we're better listeners. What pre-marketing, pricing, when to list, and purchase power. These are all conversation points that are showing up inside of the real estate listing appointment right now. And what I want to do first is talk about presentation. So I've brought a couple things. And as a team leader, I always love to ask people, do we give good customer service? Rhetorically, we're all going to say yes, right?
Yeah.
So how do we do that? Well, I'm going to bounce back and forth through live applications so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into KW Command and I'm going to show you inside of opportunities. When you go to opportunities, is everybody using Command or familiar with it anyways?
Yes.
All right, good. So when you go into opportunities, what I want you to see here is how we move things. I like to, because right now, so the team has 110 files that they're actively working, and you can see what are potential and probable, and we're excited about that. But what I wanted to bring people to is, if I go into appointments, if I'm getting ready for the listing appointment, what does that look like? So scheduling initial appointment, or if I'm going to listing appointment prep. And what I'm showing you is a checklist. And I'm actually going to go into the edit stages so you guys can see this. But when I go into the edited stages of listing presentation, this is where I think we have the opportunity to separate ourselves, not only the matter of efficiency, but consistency over time. So all of our clients, our database, or people that we're just meeting get the same opportunity to have the level of service. But what we do is inside of this listing prep packet, we're putting all of the pieces that go inside of that listing presentation. And if you're familiar with Ben Kinney doing the 5-5-5 approach, putting the comps together, and we'll go through that. I've got that set up for us. But what I want to illustrate is if you put all of your checklists inside of Command, inside of opportunities, you're going to give the same level of service. So that way, one, it prevents from winging it. It prevents rainmakers, listing partners, or team agents from just showing up underprepared. When there's this level of expectation, this will show up in this preparation for that particular listing. Again, what we're looking to do is show up with confidence, and we're showing up to win preference there. So what I like too is if you ever need to add a specific item, you can go and add that item, and then you can obviously adjust all of those different checklists. But I think this is something that's really important in a matter of consistency, so you can manage that. So when I go back to my stages, I can literally just pull this, bring it here. If I'm just taking an active, it's right here. Many of you have seen this, but I like to illustrate it because people like to see it sometimes, how it is live in motion. So that said, as we go through the presentation, we're going to set up, and I'm going to bounce back and forth between presentation and speaking. The question that I have for everybody, you set a listing appointment, let's say it's today, you're going on that listing Friday. What are you going to do between now and then to confirm that you're going to win preference when you get there? Now, some of us are going to have pre-qualifying calls, but here's what I know that the seller is going to do. The seller's made their decision that they're going to buy or sell. And in that time, when that happens, what do? Well, all of a sudden they start telling family members, they tell coworkers, friends, people that are near and dear to them. And whenever that happens, here's what happens back. Hey, I've got a friend. Hey, I know, use my realtor. This is amazing. you're allowing a gap of time to invite competition between us. So my invitation to you is, once you've made that appointment, and then we're going to move towards a buying decision, have a checklist so that way you can move forward to say, all right, the next day I'm going to call you a questionnaire about the house. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate your home? Are there any improvements that have been made since you've last owned that home? You're going to go through this needs analysis of their listing. So that way you're in check. And then you're going to say, hey, I'm going to follow up tomorrow, and I'm going to give you a little bit of homework so we're prepared for that meeting. Tomorrow you're going to call and you're going to give them or email them the seller's disclosure statement. I'm going to give you a little hint. If they have their seller's disclosure statement filled out before you get there, guess what you've got? You've got a listing. So then what you're going to do the day before or the morning of, you're going to confirm that you're on your way. Here's what you're doing. You're showing and illustrating that you're very, very good at communication. You're showing that you're organized and that you're thorough. Remember, even if it's your friend or your family member, they're hiring a professional. They're not hiring your friend. They don't need somebody to come over and build a bunch of rapport talking about fishing for 3 hours. They need somebody to come over and win them the most amount of money in the least amount of time for their house. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. So now as we prepare that listing presentation, this is where I'm going to get into scripts. So when you get to the house, what are the first steps that you do? For me, this is literally the sequence. And if you go to, if anyone's a fan of Ben Kinney's, if you go to Ben Kinney's listing presentation, you'll see this and he'll walk through this. The video is probably like 5-6 years old, and it's and you'll see the level of video editing is a little bit different then, but it's still, the content's amazing. But basically you show up to the listing and you're going to knock on the door, and when you come in, it's very specific. You're going to greet them, say hello, be jovial, thank them for allowing you to come take a look at their house. But remember, this is an interview of you of them, likewise them of you. So you're going to go and place your packet where you're going to conduct the interview of them in the house where you want to conduct it. So if is it at the dining room, the kitchen table, wherever this place is. And as you get really into this, you're going to talk about, you know, neurolinguistic training, and you're going to sit in certain sides of the body, this, that's a little more than this meeting holds, but you're going to conduct the meeting where you want to, so you're in control. You're going to ask for a tour of the home. So you're going to walk through, you're going to ask specific questions about quality of the house, improvements, anything that we should add or subtract from supplements. These are all important components. Now, this is where 2 things that show up. First thing is, when you get back to the point where you're going to conduct the interview, and you're going to, you have 2 questions. The first script is this: aside from price, are you ready to sign a listing agreement today? Question 1. Here's what happens. Most realtors are too afraid or not confident enough to ask that question, so you shy away from it for whatever reason, I don't know. Had we done the work ahead of time and qualifying a needs analysis through the week and calls leading up to that and sitting down in front of them, you could easily ask the question, because the script practice to say, aside from price, are you ready to sign a listing agreement today? That's 1. Whatever they say, you know, there's, well, I don't know. I want to hear what you have to say. I've got some other people to talk to. Whole series of things that are going to show up there, right? Now, if they say yes, great. Now all we have to do is talk about price. We don't have to go through all the rigmarole of other things. Now, the next question, anyone fan of Simon Sinek? If you're not, or haven't listened to him, I invite you to go find the book. It Starts With Why. There's actually a fantastic TED Talk with Simon Sinek, and what he talks about is the power of why, the motivations. So Joe Zimmerman, who's a fantastic agent down in Chicago, Illinois, he does right around $100 million a year in sales. Literally, all he shows up with on his listing appointments, it's not pretty package brochures, anything else. I don't even know if he brings a card. He shows up with a leather-bound notebook, and so he can take notes. That's it. He puts that on the desk and he asks this question specifically. So if you're going to write anything down from today, take this. If you could describe to me what the best real estate experience is and why, what is it? And then stop talking. Because what they're about to tell you are the objections. What they're about to tell you are the exact things that you need to communicate to win preference. So I'll give you an example. It has happened so many times where you sit down, you ask that question. If you could describe to me what the best real estate experience is, why, what is it? Well, Mrs. Seller says, well, I'm really worried about Johnny getting off the bus from 2 to 4. You know what, Mrs. Johnson, I'm really excited to share with you this app that we have called Showing Time, and you're 100% in control when people come and go from your house. So that way we have security at top of mind. Really easy answer, right? And Mr. Seller inevitably says, well, I want to make the most amount of money. Fantastic. What I hear you're saying is you want to earn the most amount of money in the least amount of time for your house. Am I hearing you correctly? And you're going to verify, and then you're going to affirm. And when you affirm that, you're speaking to them and what their biggest concerns are. Because a lot of people that we're going to just show up and throw up. You've probably heard this expression before where, hey, here's my marketing brochures. Here's the sign in the yard. You know, KW is amazing. We're number one in the world. We have all this stuff. Guess what? They care what's most important to them. That's why we ask that specific question. And then we get into the question of, tell me, you know, once they say what's, you know, most important to them, part of that transaction, what are the motivations of where they're going and why they're going there? Because that's what we need to speak to. Then we get into the presentation of how we're going to sell their house. So any questions up to this point? Okay, and as you have questions, let's just create an open dialogue. I don't want it to be one where I'm standing on the pulpit just giving it to you, right? So let's talk about next. The next piece that I do is I'm going to bring out how we sell houses, and I'm going to share my screen here. I'm a believer that there should be a good listing presentation. Can you guys see this here?
Yes.
Okay, so my listing presentation, it's about 17 pages. We pre-print them in, we update it probably once a quarter, once every 6 months. And what we do is we send that to a local printer. We use Rogers Printing, and I can print these out for right around $2.50, $2.70 a unit, but they're highly, highly professional. They're bound, they look really nice. So I'm gonna scroll through this. So I pull this out, and this is gonna be a leave that I leave them. Now, what I don't do is I'm not gonna read through this packet word for word. I'm going to leave it for them so they can review it after I'm gone. So I'm not going to review, you know, the welcome story. And I communicate this to, and I even make a little joke, hey, if you need a, you know, nighttime sleeping reading material, this is what it is. But we go through this, right? So this is nice. We have we have an index for what's inside so they know what pages to go to. Now we talk about the Search Houses Now team. Now, if you're an individual agent, obviously you're going to amend this a little bit, but can you still use word team? The answer is yes, because you have title partners, mortgage partners, you have all the inspectors, you have a whole series of people that you can leverage that you can still use. Now, what we do, and you're going to come in here, we're going to talk about Keller Williams, what our locations are. We're going to talk about, depending upon how important this is to that individual, we'll spend more or less time on this, but it talks about what we did, number of units we've sold. There's a part that I want to get to here. So the difference between working with an agent or working with a team, this is a picture of our team. And, you know, I like to use the analogy, when you make a doctor's appointment, do you call the doctor or do you call the doctor's assistant? And this is where we start to invite key team members. So for me, I have a director of operation. Her name's Andrea. She pretty much runs all of our shop. And she's done a fantastic job of making us look really, really good. So that's what we do in this particular part of the listing presentation. I don't spend a ton of time here. I'm going through quickly. So now what I'm doing is going through what you can expect through the seller process overview. And I'm literally pointing to a couple things. If they've communicated, you know, as I've asked that initial question, what's important to them, if there's anything there that's specific, I'll make sure to illustrate that. Or I'm just going to keep going through because there's something that I want to get to where I'm still controlling the conversation. So, and Heather, you can just tell me what the, Steve, maybe get a copy of your listing packet. Yeah, absolutely, Steve. So, so then what you have is understanding how buyers evaluate homes. And this is where I'm going to go into a script. The script is this. There's three things that sell homes. The first one's location. We can't move it. The second one's condition. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do we rate that? And the last one's price. So we can control two of those items. And when we know that, now we're going to go into some statistics. This is super important, and I put this in here. These stats are from the Minneapolis Association of Realtors. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand that you want to make the most amount of money. And to do that, we have to make sure that we price your home correctly. In doing that, if your home is priced right, shows well, receives offers. In fact, I'm going to enlarge this so you guys can see it. All right, can you guys see this red highlight?
That helps.
Okay. So price right, shows homes, receives offers. If it's showing but no offers, we're 4 to 6% off price. If we're low showings, we're 8 to 10% overpriced. If we're just doing drive-bys, literally it's crickets, we're 12% plus. We should never be down there because we have enough comparables sold. What I've just done is future paced a conversation around price reductions. So if the home hasn't sold in a matter of 10 to 16 days, what's the seller going to be doing? They're going to start doing math. And they're going to say, well, Steve, based on what we have here, I think we're about 5% over. Well, if we're priced at 300,000, we're talking about a $15,000 price reduction. Does that make it a little bit easier when we're future pacing that? So that's why we do this. So I'm also going to talk about, are you guys familiar with what prestige and charm pricing is?
No.
Okay. We have a fantastic agent in our office. He studies all this information. He's a data king, right? Well, he did the study of 200,000 sales over the last 4 years on the benefit of the office. And he did a study between prestige and charm pricing. And I bring this up. Prestige pricing is where we're doing round numbers. So 300,000 would be a prestige price. 325 would be a prestige price. Charm pricing is when we try to let or allow that, what is the psychology of pricing. So at, 324.9 or 299.9, the statistics show that the houses with charm pricing or listed at 299, they on average over 200,000 homes get 1% less than the homes that are priced at prestige pricing. The data behind that suggests there's a couple things. One, the listing agent, the seller, are they in the psychology of that? If we list it for less, they actually are willing to accept less. The other part of that is if it's prestige pricing, we're talking about IDX solutions where you're marketing a property to hit multiple fields inside of third-party IDX solutions. So 300,000 less, $300 or 300,000 above. That's how that works. But leveraging that, we know statistically that if we price your home correctly, we're going to make you 1% more. We're adding value. Now, no one else has said this, right? And I'd be surprised if anyone else said that. So as we're going through this, I'm going to minimize just a little bit. So factors of selling your home, we'll talk to some of that. We'll talk about what the demand of the market is right now. And then what we do is we get into market value and understanding what this is. So understanding that how buyers evaluate homes, I'm going to give you a stat. In that same 200,000 homes that we studied, the seller has the advantage of negotiating price up to 16 days. Past 16 days in this market, it becomes a buyer's advantage. So the importance of pricing correctly early is very important. So we've done that work. Now we get into communicating how we market homes. And this is where knowing stats is important. So we understand that 87% of all home buyers start their home search on a device, their mobile device. So as they're thumbing through and swiping up, we have literally a fraction of a second to capture their attention. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you have to understand my expertise is in negotiating the best real estate value and deals for you. We leverage professionals that are part of our team to take photography, video. We even, in our case, we also hire staging directors to go out and give them evaluations. Now, this is an expense of real estate where we talk about, price. There's certain price thresholds that we use for this, but sending that out, so we get professional photos back. So one, today, your resume, it's a signature that's on the MLS or on the internet at all times. So if you choose to mail one in and take a photo with your phone, that's a problem because it shows that house isn't as important as others. So I would highly recommend, even if you have to show less homes because the home isn't as flattering, always have professional photos done. To me, it's a no-brainer. You have to do that. And then we show some examples. Then we talk about home staging, and you can see the differences in home staging, what this looks like, depersonalizing the house. Again, we're just future pacing homes. The reason we use a home stager, especially for executive homes, is if somebody's in love with their terracotta wallpaper and it's not flattering to the market today, well, our stager's the bad person because they said they didn't like that, and we're just going the professional recommendation. We're deflecting that opinion of us because we're there to negotiate the best deals. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Scrolling through, Internet marketing. I have to update this page because I have to put Command and Lead Accelerator, and I'm going to give you a quick snapshot of that. But basically what I do is I go through this and say that we're a partner to Google and others, and we're going to make sure that we advertise your home. One of the biggest things that we can do to generate buyers for your property is electronic media today. And that's going to be a big distinction of what used to be yesterday, because you don't advertise in the Star Tribune the way that we used to. Now we're able to list properties, put them on the market, pre-market, drive internet activity, show the backside portals that we're getting not only views, but clicks, but leads, and we're adding more buyers to that particular property. One thing that I say every single time, the difference between the Search House Now team and others is that we're driving buyers to your house, your specific address, and we're marketing it specifically, as opposed to soliciting your property as bait so we win more business. There's a distinct difference there, and I like to make that point out so that way the consumer understands it, that we're looking out for their best interest. So as I continue to scroll down, what you can expect from us, this is the points where we talk about our communication. We've already illustrated this in our pre-listing packet, in our coming up to the appointment with confirmations, our needs analysis, and sending them homework for disclosures. And then lastly, it can go through, so we put in some client testimonials, frequently asked questions that others ask. So in the event that they do interview other agents. And then lastly, if they have, questions for other realtors, and then we have an area, so seller to do checklists. And then lastly, we have an area in there for notes. So this is all inside of our listing packet. Any questions on that so far?
No, that's amazing. I mean, I've only been an agent for a month, and that looks incredible. Clearly, you've put the work into it. I was in advertising and marketing for 25 years, and I've been looking for something like this. It's great.
Well, so we did spend a couple minutes on this, and let me ask everybody, where can you go find an easy access listing presentation or buyer presentation readily at your fingertips right now? You can go to Command and InDesigns. I think Heather was about to jump in there. So okay. The next piece is, now this is what I talk about. The next question is, we're going to start fielding some questions. Well, Steve, what do you think my house is worth, right? How do we identify price? Well, what I like to do is, it literally, especially in an area that's dense like the Twin Cities, I can come up with a listing presentation and it takes me 15 minutes. That's all it takes. We're not talking about 30, 40 hours. 15 minutes, we have this down. And let me show you how. I took a recent listing that we had that we sold for overpriced. It's in Champlin. It's in a great neighborhood. And what I did is I just took a map function area. I put in my criteria, and then I go to results. My results are going to show me, and then I always do the beginning of the year, or depending upon how many actives I get or pendings or solds, I'm going to shrink that number because I get to control the narrative of where I want to send this, right? So I took 20 properties. I've got some actives, I've got some pendings, I've got some solds. And then what I do, and just watch where I go with this. I'm going to hit print. This first report here, see this one that says quick CMA? Hit quick CMA, and then it's going to populate that. And this is what that report looks like. Now, for those of us who may or may not have, go in and brand your MLS with the right pixel size so it shows up, so it's got your information, it's got your branding. But now you've got a comparative market analysis for actives, pendings, solds. Default to the number of solds, because the solds are going to tell you a story, right? So the net average number of days, what the median list price, what the list price, sale price, any seller concessions. There's a ton of data in here. And based on where the data is going, I'm going to take a highlighter and start highlighting certain fields. So I'm going to highlight that people are getting 99.35% of list price, sale price when they price their home correctly. I'm going to go into what are they getting for seller concessions. Well, all these homes are roughly 500,000 up, and they're getting 5,000, half of them. So they're maybe giving 1% seller concessions. These are all part of the net sheet conversation that are coming. But I'm telling a story right now about value of their house, and they're following along. Does that follow? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this print section, and it says multi-photo flyer houses. See this one right underneath Quick CMA? Looks like this. So this one right here. What it does is it grabs the individual house, it grabs the interiors of what that house looks like. So now when we're scrolling through and we're sitting in that home that everybody thinks is a 10, but really it's a 6, now you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how does your home compare to some of these comparables? Now, if you're good at this, you're going to strategically start to place these in a specific order where you think value is going to start to show up. Does that make sense? So we go through, we have all these. Next, what I'm going to do is, the next question is what? We understand that we can market the home. We hire professional photographers. We have stagers. We're going to sell for the most amount in the least amount of time. How much money am I going to make on this, right? How do we present commission? So what happens when somebody asks that? Here's what I have, and I can share with you. I don't get asked the commission question. Here's why. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into a net sheet. And in this particular net sheet, I'm going to put a range. So in this one, so we have to amend that because we list at 6%. So we have a range between 580 and 620, depending upon where we think value is, right? Typically where we feel the listing is going to be, we want to put that in the middle. Now, if we have a listing where we don't know as much, or there's some variables that we need more information when we get there, then we have a little bit wider range. If we can be very specific because we know a lot about that property or that neighborhood, we can be much more hyper-focused. And this could be like 600, 610, 620. In this case, we did a larger range and we ended up listing this house for 610 and we sold it right away. So, but now, instead of saying what our percentage is, hey, here's the range, and I highlight this, here's what the net looks like. Does this look like the number that you were thinking of? The question wasn't, hey, I list for 6%, is that okay with you? The question was, is this net look familiar or what you were expecting? Fantastic, let's start. Now we've closed a couple times. At the very beginning, we sat down and we said, aside from price, are you ready to sign a listing agreement today? Now we've done a quick marketing presentation. You guys, that takes me 10 minutes. I'm not there for 4 hours. I'm going through the listing presentation, that booklet, it takes me 10 minutes. I get into the listing and then I go to the net sheet. The net sheet says, hey, does this range look good to you? If so, let's move forward. Any questions so far? Okay, so then what we're gonna do is we have net sheet. I wanted to illustrate some of our YouTube channel so people can go watch this. And I can show you some of the videos. At that particular point, this is where they're either going to sign or they're going to have some objections. So what are some of the objections that you're having? Because there's some obvious ones. Well, Steve, we were thinking about interviewing some other people, or we have another appointment. We would hate to break that with them. I've got a listing that I took over in Woodbury a few years ago, and I love this story because I was with a newer agent. They asked me to come along to help out with this. We went in and we literally got to the point where, all right, it's time to sign listing paperwork. And they said, well, Steve, we have another appointment with another realtor tomorrow from another company that rides balloons. And I said, hey, you know what, completely understand. You understand, or I think we're both in the belief that we have enough information. We can sell your home for the most amount of money, least amount of time. Would you agree? Perfect. I agree too. So why don't I do this? I know, having done this so many times, that it's a hard conversation to cancel that. Why don't you give me their name and number and I'll make that call on your behalf so you don't have to make that hard phone call and we can get started right now. And then you just sit there. It was a great listing. We ended up selling that and a couple others. So, but you have to understand that's a script. And if the better you are at your scripts and understanding this presentation, in fact, go back to what Ben Kinney says on this. He says when they hire a new listing agent, until they can present this with fluidity and understanding and confidence and voted on by their peers, they don't get listing leads. So the same standard should be within our business. For you to go on a listing appointment, you should be able to communicate this at such a high level that it's just embedded, right? This is a pre-program and all I'm doing is listening so I can rebuttal and have a conversation and answer their question accordingly without having to think about it. what other objections are you guys getting right now? Because we can overcome those real quick. I've got a couple written down. How about, is it a good time to sell? Or how about, you know what, Steve, I really want to sell. However, there's nothing for me to go look at. Are you guys getting that one?
Yeah.
So, you know what? Fantastic, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Completely understand. Do you need to sell your home in order to purchase? Now, they either are going to have the luxury of being able to purchase and then we sell it, just fine. If they don't, then you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you actually don't have the ability to purchase right now, so you're putting the cart before the horse. So let's do the right thing, get your house on the market, and while we're doing that, in concert, I can show you how you're going to be able to find the house. We do that a couple ways. One, if you have a specific targeted area, we can do door knocking, geographic canvassing, calls. We can work in reverse prospect with realtors. In addition to that, I like to show data and stats. And Matt, you were talking about it a little bit earlier. And what that looks like is, because I understand what the market's doing, I can go into my weekly stats and I can go up to new listings. You know what, Mr. and Mr. Seller, every single week right now, we're averaging between 1,700 and 1,900 new homes. I'm confident that we can sell your house. Now, we do have to have a contingency plan in the event secondary housing, but what awards you the greatest amount of negotiating power is selling your home, so you don't have to offer contingent on the sale of. So that way you get the best price on your purchase and you get the most amount of money on your list. So let's do the right thing and get started today. Again, this is a script. So any other questions on that? Okay, well, hopefully what I was able to illustrate and what I wanted to illustrate is, if we're studied, we're prepared, and we have scripts, the listing presentation it's actually rather easy. In fact, if you go back into the MREA, the many virtues of seller listings on page 102, you have marketing opportunities. You're going to win more sellers and buyers. You're going to control your time. Say that again. You're going to control your time. The statistics from KW are that you actually have the ability to manage 15 to 25 seller listings per month, where a buyer's agent only has the ability to manage 7 to 8. So let's think about that. I can sell twice as many homes, making greater percentage of income. 60-40 is generally what our payout is. Listings. The next thing is compensation per hour. We get that. And then you're at the front end of understanding what the market pricing is. If we're at the front end of seller pricing, this is, you have the intimate knowledge that others don't. So that's why this is important, because you're going to be able to take market share, solicit that you have an ability to sell homes, and understanding what your language of real estate is from our Keller Value Tools. This is how we do this. So I'm going to illustrate one more thing for everybody and take any questions that you guys have. I mean, I don't know how much time you gave me, Heather, but I've obviously taken a fair amount now. Okay. When you go to market homes, how are you advertising a listing electronically right now? What are you guys doing for that?
What's market homes?
Well, are you guys putting out landing pages? Are you creating lead accelerator campaign ads?
No.
Okay, good. Then we're going to just quickly go through this because I think it's important. So you've got your agent site. Make sure you customize that. Customize your guide builder, so for the buyers and sellers. But I'm going to go through landing pages real quick. So here's a landing page of a house that we sold. This is a really quick and easy. Okay, we got the branded header. We have the listing. In this particular case, we also put in the video. What I like about this is I can start the video and it doesn't leave my page, right? So you can have your video in there, which is good. So how do we do that? I'm just going to do this really quick. Create standalone. Watch how fast this is. You're going to get a blank slate, and on the right-hand side, you have the widgets, branded header, listing form. Then scroll down. I'm going to put a lead form down here. Okay. So now that I've done that, all I have to do is hit configure widgets. So for branded header, I'm going to do this. Roseville office. Okay, I go to next. Then what I'm going to do is browse listings. So who's got a good listing? Steve, you got any listings right now? Anyone? Chad, you got a listing?
Now residential.
Okay, well, let's go to Bates. Let's just go Maple Grove. Okay, so here, this one's listed by Nick Johnson. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to configure, I'll hit save. It'll update here shortly. So as it updates this listing, now look, see how fast, Nick's an agent in our office, but see how fast this landing page was created? So now we have a landing page, a platform for those properties to go to. It shows up in tablet form and it shows up in mobile form. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. I don't need to save this. So now I'm going to go back to Lead Accelerator, and this is why this is important. The reason people don't have enough real estate transactions is they're not speaking to enough people, right? How do we create more appointments? You've got 3 foundational pegs. You've got your Sphere database, as the minders talked about in your 36 touch. That's very important. Then what you have is your foundational lead generation, open houses, geographic farming, all of those components. Then lastly, and I think this is a huge gift that KW gave us, we have the ability to create internet leads at a very low cost. I'll give you an example. If you have Boomtown, Sync, any others, outside of what your monthly couple $1,000 expense is, you're gonna spend cost per lead right around 10 to 15 bucks per lead. If you are in, say, just Facebook ads campaign, you're gonna be at $7 to $9 per lead. If you're in Lead Accelerator, we're talking about $1.50 per lead. If you're if you go Zillow, Realtor.com as it used to be, you're talking hundreds of dollars per lead. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into paid leads real quick, and I'm gonna show you just, all right, so just now remember, it's what, the 6th of the month right now, 7th of the month. We've had 9 campaigns in the last 7 days. I've had 12,000 impressions and 121 leads captured for a spend of 208 bucks.
Wow.
Yeah, so Jesse on my team listed a $400,000 house in Minneapolis and is now looking at $700,000 homes in Hopkins from this group of leads. Do you think that 200 bucks was worth it?
Hey, Steve, how many buyers do you typically get from a listing? Buyer leads or buyers out of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. The actual number, that's a good question. I don't know the exact number. The reason I don't is because here's what we're able to do. We are advertising that out to our Sphere databases. We're doing this through Lead Accelerator, and we'll run multiple ads over the course of time. So I'll give you an example, like this Creekview house. We ran a $25 ad. We ended up with 27 leads. We had 1,189 impressions, and you can see what the differences are. So part of it is going to be price point driven, but on average, if I had to guess, we're driving right around 25, 30 leads per listing is what we normally average, because we're running multiple ads through the course of it. Because now we're doing just listed, just solds. We're doing circle prospecting for the course of 12 months following, because we know that 80% of the time, once a listing goes up, in the next 6 months, according to the National Association of Realtors, another listing will come again, typically with an eye shot.
Cool, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Steve, how has your conversion been with those leads?
Yeah, it's a great question. So what is the national average conversion for internet leads? The number is 2%. So when I say 2%, people are like, 2%, that's not good. It's actually great. And here's why. We have smart campaigns that follow up, and you have to understand what internet leads are. There's an average gestation period of 18 months. So we have to, are there going to be immediate hand raisers? Some, but most of them are going to take a little bit of time, because when you get them as a cold internet lead from either Google or Facebook or Insta, what's happening is you've got somebody who's just tipping their toe in the water of buying or selling real estate. So that means it might take them 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 18 months. Now, why people are paying so much money for Zillow or Realtor.com leads is because those folks are within the 120-day cycle of acquisition. So, but you're paying more for that. Now, what I'm able to do for a lot less spend, I'm able to put a lot more people into those campaigns. I'll give you an example. A guy on the team last year sold a $400,000 house for a lead that showed up that we never talked to back in 2015. We nurtured them since 2015, and all of a sudden the hand raised and said, hey, that I want to go buy a house. And they had a relationship, an internet relationship, because of photo and video and communication. And with that, they had that relationship because there was a follow-up campaign. It was a smart plan. What other questions do you guys have?
Can you just repeat what you said when the man said that he had another agent coming tomorrow? I missed exactly what you said.
Yep. So it literally sounds like this. Tracy, I believe that you and I both understand what it's going to take to sell your home. And I think that you believe that we have enough to sell your home for the most amount of money in the least amount of time. And I understand that's probably a hard conversation. So why don't you let me do that for you? What's the name and the number of the agent that you're going to meet with? I'm happy to give them a call on your behalf.
Okay, that's not leaving much wiggle room, is it?
And then just be quiet. In the example that I gave you, it was a husband and wife. And literally we sat there for like 120 seconds and it was quiet. Finally, he said, well, honey, it's up to you. He completely threw his wife under the bus and then she wasn't about to cave. So here we go. We got the listing. So if I were to leave you with this, scripts, practice your listing presentation, show up with confidence and you'll win these. I mean, I don't go on them every day anymore. I help the team from time to time, but I haven't lost a presentation in years. It just, we show up, we take it, we sell it. That's literally how this works. So make sure you understand the psychology that you're interviewing them and them not interviewing you, because they get to earn the right to win your business. Because if they're not a great client, then don't work with them. There's more fish in the sea. Go get them. But you get that choice because you're doing the right activities in prospecting, and that's what's important.
I have one more question if I can.
Yeah, please.
I have about 5 people that are sitting on the fence right now. They just can't decide if they want to move, or, you know, they're very indecisive. And it seems like it's such an emotional thing, selling your house. So what do you say to those people?
Okay, so we have to ask a better question of why. You know, Tracy, will you role play with me?
Sure.
Great. Tracy, I understand you're considering, you know, buying or selling, and, you know, there's some emotions in this. Why don't you tell me where you would go and why you want to go there?
Oh, you know, I'm just not sure. I kind of want to live where my kids do, but then they might move, and I don't know. There's just so much uncertainty. I just don't know where I want to go.
Okay. Is there anything holding you back from doing it this year to compared to next year?
Oh, my house is such a disaster. You know, I got to clean all this stuff up out of here, and I don't know. It just seems so overwhelming. Too much work.
Okay. Well, Tracy, what if I were able to have a designer come over and help you organize that process? The reason I'm asking you this is one of the things I understand about the market right now and the interest rates is that the affordability index is so great that what you're able to purchase right now compared to next year might vary in almost 10 to 30% buying power. So you're actually able to probably move up in house quality for no more price or even less per month. So if we're able to enrich the quality of life and the environment that you live every single day and not increase the amount of money that you're spending, would that be of interest to you?
Yeah, but also, are you saying I could get 10 to 30% more for this house if I waited a year?
Actually, not necessarily, because what's going to end up happening is that the pricing is going to adjust once the interest rates adjust. Now, we don't have a crystal ball. It's a little foggy because there's a lot of variables in the market right now, but here's what we do know. At this time, we have literally record lows. In fact, we have the ability to save you thousands of dollars with Keller Mortgage. So that way you're able to buy smart. We're able to qualify your listing for special financing. So that way you don't have to pay other people's closing costs. So now you can get into that next house for a lot less money on a monthly basis because of the affordability index. So if you were to, and I'll give you guys an example, just did this with some friends. They built 2 years ago, a $2,300 a month payment. They had a $300 association. They were in detached townhome. They took that $2,600, they took it from a $350, and now they're going to build a $475, and they have the same monthly payment. They didn't take any money out of pocket, and they're building right now, building a dream home. Those are the realities right now. Because to give you an example, if you understand pricing, so the interest rate's going to do a lot. If they live in a 350 for no less money, they can probably buy a 425 right now. If they have a 250, they can probably get into a 325, 340, depending upon taxes. So are those care calls going out? Say, you know, let's say you have Tracy, you're the person. Hi, Tracy. I saw your name today on my desk. It compelled me to call you. I wanted to call and reach out and see how you were doing.
Thanks. That's nice of you.
You know what, you know, we go through all the small talks, how the family, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of it, say, you know what, Tracy, I'd be 100% remiss not to tell you about the opportunity that's going on with the interest rates and Keller Mortgage. You may want to explore refinancing your home. We have people saving thousands of dollars every single month with a no-cost refi. Or you can also leverage that and you can put it into a new home, save thousands of dollars, not pay any more and get more home for your money.
That's great.
Let's do it today. I'm
Okay.
available on Saturday. I can come over and give you a free equity update so we can talk about options.
Great. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. So what I'll do is, Heather, I'll email you my listing packet and then you can just share it with whomever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter to me. So, but that way you guys can leverage that and hopefully give some inspiration to what you guys want to make in edits. You can go into KW Command Designs. They got the listing and the buyer presentation there.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Steve. We really appreciate you joining us today and all the value that you brought to our meeting. So thank you.
Thanks, boss. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Have a good day, guys.